Welcome back to Starz Recapped, your home for the best movie breakdowns and story explanations from around the world. Today, we're diving into one of the most intense and underrated horror thrillers to ever hit British television, Dead Set, 2008. Imagine this. A zombie apocalypse breaks out in the middle of a Big Brother reality TV show. Cameras keep rolling, contestants are trapped inside, and the world outside, it's collapsing into chaos. This isn't your typical slow burn zombie flick. Dead Set is fast, brutal, and disturbingly realistic. Created by Charlie Brooker, the genius behind Black Mirror, this 5-part miniseries shows what happens when fame, fear, and survival collide in the most unexpected way. So grab your popcorn, buckle up, and let's break down Dead Set, where the only thing scarier than the undead is being trapped on live television while the world ends. This is Dead Set, explained by Starz Recapped. In the UK, the newest season of Big Brother has turned into a nationwide obsession. Inside the house, the contestants go about their usual daily routine, chatting, lounging, and living in their own little bubble, completely unaware of what's happening beyond those walls. Meanwhile, at the production studio, everyone's focused on eviction night. Cameras are rolling, lights are flashing, and chaos brews behind the scenes. No one's even glancing at the news reports showing violent riots spreading across London, and bodies beginning to pile up. Authorities soon seal off the city, declaring an emergency lockdown. No one gets in, no one gets out. Out on the highway, a man named Rick tries to reach his girlfriend, Kelly, who's working at the Big Brother studio. But she doesn't answer his calls. While driving, he spots a stranded family waving him down, desperate for help. Against his better judgment, he stops the car. Back at the studio, the atmosphere couldn't be more different. There's a pre-show celebration going on. Former contestants and crew members are partying, completely unaware of the nightmare unfolding outside. News broadcasts warn of a mysterious outbreak spreading across the country, but the team is too caught up in the showbiz buzz to notice. Producer Patrick, irritated as ever, gets a call from 2 VIP guests saying they won't make it due to road closures. Furious, he demands they come anyway. On their way, the guest's driver suddenly brakes. There's a wrecked car in the middle of the road. As he steps out to check, the supposedly dead driver suddenly gets up and charges straight at him. Back at the studio, Patrick finally turns on the news, and what he sees isn't good. Riots have broken out not just in London, but in other major cities like Newcastle and Liverpool. Even police officers are being reported among the dead. Frustrated, Patrick grumbles that the chaos might interrupt their live broadcast tonight. Meanwhile, Kelly, one of the crew members, is roaming around the set, trying to understand more about how the show operates behind the scenes. As she passes behind one of the mirrored walls, her phone starts ringing, loud enough for the contestants inside the house to hear. Patrick loses his temper immediately and snaps at her, forcing Kelly to hang up on her boyfriend, Rick. Her phone keeps buzzing non-stop, so she sneaks upstairs to the rooftop to take the call in peace. Rick, clearly stressed, tells her that the couple he tried to help earlier ended up stealing his car. Now he's stranded and waiting for a train home. Kelly, still caught up in her work, tries to cut the conversation short. But things turn tense fast. Rick accuses her of getting too close to her coworkers, suggesting she's trying to climb the corporate ladder through favors. The two argue heatedly, but before anything can be resolved, the call suddenly drops. The signal's completely gone, and it's not just her phone. Back at the train station, Rick realizes all communications are down. The schedule boards aren't even working anymore. Inside the studio, Kelly checks with others and finds out that no one can make a call. She heads into an office looking for some paperwork when Danny, one of her colleagues, approaches her with flirty intentions, totally ignoring the chaos on TV screens showing fires and riots consuming cities across the country. Outside, fans of the reality show are still gathered, unaware of how serious things have gotten. The show's host, Dana, connects with the house contestants to reveal tonight's eviction result. Pippa is the one getting voted out. Meanwhile, the 2 special guests driving to the studio are in serious trouble. Their driver has been bitten by something or someone, and his condition is worsening fast. With no GPS, no signal, and nowhere else to go, they make a desperate decision. They'll head to the Big Brother studio. There's a medic on staff there, and right now, that's their only hope. Moments later, the car carrying the injured driver rolls to a stop just outside the studio. Everything seems quiet until the driver's lifeless body suddenly twitches. His eyes snap open, pale, milky, and lifeless. When no one steps out of the vehicle, a security guard walks over to check it out. He shines his flashlight through the window and instantly freezes in horror. A blood-smeared face lunges at the glass. Meanwhile, Danny heads out of the building for a quick store run, only to find a nightmare unfolding in the parking lot. The guard is on the ground being devoured by one of the guests. The infection has reached them. The zombie outbreak has officially begun. Inside, the live show continues. The host, Dana, welcomes the evicted contestant Pippa for an interview, completely unaware that chaos is erupting right outside the studio walls. Suddenly, the monitors flicker. The news broadcast cuts out completely. Something's gone horribly wrong. Outside, the infected guests stumble into the crowd of excited fans gathered near the entrance. Within seconds, screams fill the air as panic spreads like wildfire. People are bitten left and right, and the once cheering crowd turns into a swarm of the undead. Danny, now terrified, sprints back inside the control room, but he's too late. One of the infected bursts through the door and drags him down, ending him instantly. The rest of the crew loses it, scrambling for safety in every direction. Patrick bolts through a corridor, slamming a door shut behind him, leaving a coworker to face the creature alone. Desperate to survive, he hides inside a bathroom stall, even pushing a man in a wheelchair into danger as a human distraction. Back on set, Dana starts hearing blood-curdling screams through her earpiece. The housemates inside the Big Brother set can hear the noise too, but they assume it's just excited fans outside. That illusion shatters when terrified people burst into the studio looking for safety, followed by a wave of zombies. One of them leaps onto Dana, dragging her down before she can even scream. One by one, the production crew and former contestants are wiped out, their screams replaced by growls as they turn into the very monsters attacking them. Meanwhile, the current contestants, sealed off inside the house, are completely oblivious, still laughing, dancing, and partying as the apocalypse rages just outside. In the back office, Kelly is arguing with another staff member, the same woman who used to mess around with Danny. Suddenly, zombie Danny bursts through the doorway and attacks his former fling, ripping her apart in seconds. Kelly runs for her life, barricading herself inside another office with a heavy cabinet against the door. As Danny's undead fists pound against the wall, Kelly desperately grabs the phone, but there's no signal. She turns on the TV, finding only one channel still running. A panicked newscaster mutters something about violent attacks across the country, and then, just like that, the broadcast cuts to static. After the chaos, Kelly finally breaks down. Exhausted, scared, and alone, she curls up in the office and eventually drifts off to sleep. By the next morning, inside the Big Brother house, the contestants are still completely clueless about the disaster unfolding outside. To them, it's just another normal day. Except one of them, nicknamed Space, starts noticing that something's off. There's no wake-up alarm. Nobody's shouting through the speakers to remind them about their microphones. Even the diary room, where they usually talk to producers, won't open. As Space moves around the house, he realizes the cameras aren't tracking his every move anymore. That's when it hits him. Something's seriously wrong. Meanwhile, back in the main building, Patrick is still hiding in the bathroom, waiting for the zombie that was chasing him to leave. When things finally go quiet, he steps out, only to find that the poor man he used as bait has turned into one of the undead too. Luckily for Patrick, the creature can't move much because it's still stuck in the wheelchair, giving him a chance to slip away. He creeps down the hallway and suddenly comes face to face with a zombified Dana. Her bloodshot eyes lock onto him instantly and she charges. Patrick takes off running, ducking into the nearest room to hide, and that's where he finds Pippa, the recently evicted contestant, trembling but alive. She's been hiding there the entire night. Back in the office, Kelly finally wakes up. She looks out the window and sees the full horror, lifeless bodies everywhere. Phones are dead, TVs are static, and there's no sound of rescue anywhere. She knows she can't stay there any longer. Grabbing a pair of scissors for protection, Kelly slowly opens the door. But as soon as she steps into the hallway, she sees Danny, or what's left of him, still feasting on his former coworker's body. The sound of the door catches his attention. His head jerks up, blood dripping from his mouth, and he spots Kelly. She bolts back into the office, trying to slam the door shut, but Danny moves faster than expected, wedging his arm in the doorway and stopping it from closing. Kelly struggles with Danny as he lunges at her like an animal. They crash against the desk and she fights to keep him off, slashing wildly with her scissors. He doesn't stop. Not until she drives the blade straight through his skull. Finally, the creature collapses for good. Breathing heavily, Kelly wipes the blood from her face and moves into the hallway. But she barely gets a few steps before another zombie spots her. Without hesitation, she runs. Sprinting down the stairwell, she bursts through the exit door and locks it behind her, just in time to trap the undead on the other side. But she's not safe yet. Another corpse grabs her by the leg from under a pile of rubble, dragging her down. She screams and stabs it repeatedly until it stops moving. Shaken, Kelly searches for a way out. She finds a set of car keys on a dead security guard nearby, a possible ticket to freedom. But before she can even reach the parking lot, more zombies emerge from the shadows and charge at her. Thinking fast, she darts through a narrow gate and locks it behind her, leaving the creatures clawing at the fence. Out of breath, she circles back into the building, this time finding a passage that connects directly to the Big Brother house. Inside, the contestants are still oblivious, bickering about why the show's gone silent. As Kelly turns the corner, she spots another infected feasting on a body. The moment it sees her, it lets out a guttural growl and rushes forward. Kelly bolts through the nearest door and slams it shut. She's stumbled into the diary room, the one place the players usually come to talk to the cameras. After catching her breath, she opens the inner door and steps into the house itself. The contestants freeze, surprised to see a stranger walk in, then they cheer, thinking she's a new participant entering the game. Kelly, covered in blood and panic, tries to warn them. She tells them the world outside has fallen apart, that people are turning into monsters, but they just laugh it off, assuming it's all part of the show. One of them, Marky, mocks her and touches the emergency exit door, teasing her like it's a joke. Kelly snaps and yells that if he opens it, she'll stab him. The others still think it's an act, until Marky pulls the handle and a zombie bursts in, tackling him to the ground. Panic explodes instantly. Half the group runs for their lives while the others try to help. In the chaos, one of the girls, Angel, gets bitten on the leg. Kelly grabs a fire extinguisher, swings with all her strength, and smashes the zombie's head over and over until it stops moving. Finally, silence and horror fill the room. Now the contestants finally believe her. They crowd around, terrified, demanding to leave. But Kelly tells them there's no way out, not anymore. To prove it, she leads them upstairs to the roof. When they step outside and look across the horizon, they finally see it for themselves. Smoke rising, fires burning, and the undead roaming everywhere. The world they knew is gone. Over at the train station, Rick wakes up after spending the night waiting for help that never comes. The place is deserted, and it finally sinks in. The trains aren't running anymore. Realizing he's on his own, he grabs his things and starts walking down the empty tracks. Not long after, he spots an abandoned delivery truck. As he gets closer, he hears something, a low, eerie growl. Suddenly, a zombie lunges from behind the vehicle, forcing Rick to sprint for his life. He runs until he reaches the downtown area and dives into a small convenience store, barricading the entrance with a refrigerator to keep the creature out. Just as he catches his breath, a woman appears outside, armed and aiming straight at him. Her name's Alex. She shoots the zombie dead with a clean headshot, but then turns her gun on Rick, suspicious that he might be infected. Panicked, Rick yells that he's human. After a tense moment, she lowers her weapon and orders him to help gather supplies before they both leave in her car. They drive off, but their luck doesn't last. The car breaks down on an empty road, and Rick gets out to try and fix it while Alex keeps watch. Every time an infected gets too close, she shoots them down one by one. Hours pass, the sun sets, and Rick still hasn't managed to repair the vehicle. As night falls, a horde of zombies begins closing in from every direction. Alex fires until her gun clicks empty, and the two are forced to make a run for it. They find a fenced property nearby and scramble over it, barely escaping. Once they catch their breath, Alex, furious, slaps Rick for wasting time and admits she's out of bullets. Together, they move into the house, relieved to find it empty, at least for now. Meanwhile, back at the TV studio, Patrick and Pippa are still trapped inside a small office, and they're already getting on each other's nerves. Patrick eats whatever's left from the party table, burping loudly just to annoy her. When nature calls, he doesn't even bother looking for a restroom. He just uses the trash can. Later, after taking a nap, Patrick peeks into the hallway to check if it's safe. The same zombie is still there, pacing outside the door. Startled, he quickly slams it shut, but the fright makes his stomach churn, forcing him to use the trash can again for, well, more than just pee. Back in the Big Brother house, Kelly and the remaining contestants try to clean up after the attack, getting rid of the zombie body. Hours later, Angel, the girl who got bitten earlier, starts to shake and lose color. Kelly insists they need to end it before she turns, but the others refuse to let her kill one of their own. Eventually, she convinces them to at least tie Angel up in the greenhouse away from everyone else. As they secure her, one of the contestants named Grayson reveals he used to be a nurse. He wants to help, but says he needs medical supplies, bandages, disinfectants, anything. Kelly remembers there's a supermarket not far from the studio that might still have what they need. It's risky, but staying put means starving. They come up with a distraction plan. From the rooftop, Space makes loud noises to lure the zombies toward one side of the building. It actually works. The undead start crowding near the sound. Taking advantage of the distraction, Kelly, Space, and Marky prepare to sneak out the back door. At the same time, Joplin and Veronica climb onto the roof, banging pots and yelling to keep the horde's attention. Once the coast is clear, the trio quietly slips out. Kelly and Space make it to the car safely, but Marky hesitates a moment too long trying to close the gate. A zombie spots him and starts sprinting straight toward him. From the rooftop, the other housemates yell out, warning Marky that a zombie is right behind him. Marky bolts, sprinting full speed toward the car. Just in time, he dives inside. slamming the door as the creature smashes against the window. He's safe, but not unharmed. A jagged piece of metal has sliced his arm during the escape. Moments later, the group reaches the supermarket. Space stays behind in the car as lookout, while Kelly and Marky head inside to grab whatever supplies they can find. Kelly throws a can across the floor to test if anything's lurking inside. Silence. No movement. No growls. The coast seems clear, so they begin searching the aisles for food and medicine. Elsewhere, Rick and Alex are holed up in another safe spot. While scanning through channels, Rick suddenly notices something unbelievable. Big Brother is still broadcasting. Only one camera is active, showing a lifeless, empty set. Confused and disturbed, he stares at the screen, realizing the show is still running, even though the world has ended. On the radio, Alex manages to tune into a French emergency broadcast. She can't understand much, except for one word repeated over and over: shelter. Back at the supermarket, Space spots a police car rolling by and waves frantically to get their attention. The officers, Bob and Den, jump out, weapons drawn, thinking he might be one of the infected. But once they realize he's human and even recognize him from Big Brother, they lower their guns. Inside, Kelly and Marky are finishing up, arms full of supplies, when disaster strikes. Marky accidentally knocks something over, sending a loud crash echoing through the store. The sound draws two zombies from the shadows. They charge fast. Kelly and Marky drop everything and sprint for the exit. Outside, the cops see what's happening and immediately open fire. One zombie goes down instantly, but the other manages to grab Officer Bob, sinking its teeth into his neck before Den takes it out with a clean headshot. Seeing the bite, Den knows there's no saving his partner. Without hesitation, he turns his gun on Bob and pulls the trigger. Then, spotting Marky's bleeding arm, Den assumes he's been bitten too and raises his weapon again. Before he can fire, Kelly grabs Bob's dropped gun and shoots Den in the leg, stopping him. But before they can process what's happened, another zombie emerges behind them. Thinking fast, Kelly snatches Den's gun as well, and the three survivors, Kelly, Marky, and Space, race back to the car and speed away, leaving Den to be torn apart by the approaching undead. Back at the Big Brother house, things are eerily calm. Veronica decides to take a shower, while Joplin, one of the housemates, sneaks into the control corridor and starts peeking through the glass to spy on her. But Veronica isn't fooled. She catches on immediately, calling him out loud enough for everyone to hear. Embarrassed, Joplin quickly backs away, pretending nothing happened. Inside the greenhouse, things start to take a tragic turn. Angel, who's tied up and slipping closer to death, begins begging for help. Feeling guilty, Grayson finally gives in and unties her, hoping she might pull through. But within moments, her body goes still. She's gone. Heartbroken, Grayson grabs a pair of scissors, ready to make sure she doesn't come back. But before he can act, Angel suddenly jerks awake. Her eyes empty, her face twisted. She's turned. A few seconds later, Veronica hears a commotion and sees Grayson stumbling out of the greenhouse, blood pouring from his throat. She runs toward him, but before she can help, Zombie Angel lunges from behind, tackling her to the ground. From inside the house, Joplin watches in horror. Instead of helping, he panics and slams the door shut, locking them out. Struggling to survive, Grayson somehow manages to shove Angel into the pool. She thrashes around, unable to swim, trapped but still snarling beneath the water. Thinking the danger's over, Joplin creeps outside to check on Veronica. But moments later, Grayson collapses and turns into one of them too. Realizing they're not safe, Veronica and Joplin rush back into the house and barricade the door. Veronica's furious. If they don't deal with the zombies, the rest of their group will never make it inside alive. Joplin admits he's terrified and doesn't want to fight, so she slaps him across the face to snap him out of it. When Grayson begins banging on the glass door, Joplin comes up with a risky plan. He pounds the glass from the side to draw Grayson's attention, while Veronica unlocks the door and calls him in. The moment the zombie rushes forward, Joplin throws a blanket over him, and Veronica stabs him again and again until he finally stops moving. Meanwhile, outside the compound, Kelly and her team arrive back in their car, but a zombie's already inside the parking area. Space hits the gas, ramming the creature before Kelly jumps out to close the gate. They barely manage to lock it before the horde can break through. Inside, Kelly spots Angel still floating lifelessly in the pool. Without hesitation, she raises her gun and fires a single shot to finish it. As they move through the living room, the house cameras finally catch their movements, and somewhere else, Rick sees it on a screen. His heart jumps. Kelly's alive. But there's no time to celebrate. Alex checks the gate and finds a massive wave of zombies gathering outside. Despite her warnings, Rick refuses to stay put, determined to reach Kelly no matter the cost. The river escape. While exploring the backyard, Rick stumbles upon something that could change everything. A small dock leading straight to the river, and a boat waiting there. He realizes this river winds right around the TV studio where Kelly's trapped. With no other option left, Rick decides he's going to use it to reach her. Alex, however, thinks the plan sounds suicidal. The city's crawling with the dead, and the river's just as dangerous. But after seeing Rick's determination and realizing he won't survive alone, she finally agrees to go with him. The two set off in the boat, quietly drifting through the eerie silence of the river. But before long, their path is blocked by a massive sluice gate. Someone will need to open it. Without hesitation, Alex jumps out, moving carefully to reach the control. That's when a zombie suddenly leaps out of nowhere and tackles her from behind. A desperate fight breaks out. Alex manages to knock it down, grabs an axe, and starts swinging with everything she has until the creature stops moving for good. When Reek finally catches up, he finds her standing over the body, shaking and bleeding. She's been bitten. Realizing she doesn't have much time left, Alex hands Rick the axe, gives him one last look, and tells him to finish it. After a painful pause, Rick does what he has to do and continues his journey alone. When the engine finally dies, he grabs the oars and keeps rowing toward Kelly, refusing to give up. Back at the compound, Marky takes position on the rooftop, shooting at any zombies that come too close. Inside the studio, Patrick's patience runs out. Tired of hiding, he starts scavenging for something, anything he can turn into a weapon. He breaks a lamp apart and pulls out the metal rod, forcing Pippa to open the door. The moment the door cracks, Zombie Dina tries to push in. Pippa slams it shut to trap her halfway, while Patrick repeatedly stabs her through the gap until she finally drops. The two cautiously move out of the office, ignoring another zombie feasting nearby as they creep through the corridors. Eventually, they reach the control room, and to their shock, they see the rest of the survivors on the monitors, sitting down and having dinner like it's just another night. Patrick grabs the microphone connected to the studio's loudspeaker and starts yelling, begging them to come help. But after a tense moment, the others refuse. It's too dangerous. They won't risk it. Frustrated and furious, Patrick snaps. He starts smashing buttons on the control board, blasting random sound effects through the speakers, and slamming the metal shutters down one by one. With all that chaos, the group finally gives in. They'll go help him, whether they like it or not. Kelly and Space head out first. As they make their way through the dark hallways, a zombie suddenly lunges toward them. But before it can bite, Marky picks it off from the rooftop with a clean headshot. Inside, another one grabs Space, but Kelly reacts fast and puts a bullet right through it. They push forward, finding Patrick and Pippa trapped in a nearby corridor. The four of them finally regroup and make a run for it. When they reach the parking lot, the sight makes their blood run cold. The entire area is crawling with even more infected than before. Somehow, they fight through and make it back to the house. Once inside, tensions explode. Patrick immediately starts acting like he's still the boss, barking orders and demanding control. Everyone's had enough of him, but he doesn't care. His latest plan? Something so disgusting it leaves the rest speechless. He wants to chop up the remains of Angel and Grayson, toss the pieces outside, and use them as bait to distract the zombies so they can escape. The others are horrified, refusing to help, but Patrick grabs a knife and starts doing it himself. The girls break down, unable to even watch. Meanwhile, Rick finally reaches land after his long journey down the river, only to be greeted by more of the undead. He sprints through the forest as they close in from every direction. When he reaches a wire fence, he leaps over it just in time, leaving the horde snarling behind. After hours of wandering, he spots a familiar road. It leads straight to the TV studio. Staying low, he sneaks around, trying to find a way in. Up on the roof, Marky notices movement in the distance and assumes it's another zombie. Without thinking, he opens fire. Bullets rip through the air as Rick dives for cover, shouting that he's human. But Marky keeps shooting until Kelly rushes out, screaming for him to stop. Kelly runs to the back door, throws it open, and pulls Rick inside. The moment they see each other, they share an emotional kiss, finally reunited after everything. Rick tells her he came all this way to find her, but there's bad news. The infection has completely overrun the country. There's nowhere left to go. When he explains this to the others, they're stunned. Everyone except Patrick. Still convinced he can survive on his own terms, he announces that he's taking the boat and leaving. No one wants to join him, leading to another heated argument. In the end, Patrick storms off alone, disappearing into the night, completely unaware that the world outside has already been lost. Patrick refuses to give up, even though everyone warns him that opening the doors could bring the entire horde crashing in. He's still determined to leave. Kelly fires a warning shot to scare him off, but Patrick keeps pushing. Space finally grabs him, and Rick knocks him out cold with the axe. Once he's unconscious, the group ties him up inside the bathroom. They gather in the living room to figure out what to do next, because deep down, they all know they can't trust Patrick anymore. Veronica takes a dark turn, insisting that they should kill him before he turns on them, calling it self-defense. The rest of the group hesitates, unsure if they can cross that line. A little later, Joplin sneaks away to relieve himself and passes by the bathroom. Seeing Patrick gagged and helpless, he feels sorry for him and makes a terrible mistake. He removes the gag. Patrick wastes no time. He whispers that the others are plotting to kill him, and that Joplin will be next once they're done. He manipulates him further, saying the rest of the group has mocked him behind his back, even the fans calling him Gollum online. Joplin doesn't believe it at first, until he overhears Veronica joking about him moments later. Furious and hurt, he storms back into the bathroom, and something changes inside him. While the group debates what to do, Kelly suggests a compromise. Don't kill Patrick. Just make sure he can't cause trouble again. But before they can act, Joplin and Patrick burst in, armed. Patrick grabs Kelly as a hostage, while Joplin snatches the car keys and the chopped-up bait meat. Together, they make a break for the back door, chase after them. As Joplin reaches the car, he slips on the bowl of meat, giving Rick a brief chance to fight back. But Patrick shoots him before he can land a hit. Kelly rushes to him, trying to stop the bleeding, but it's too late. Rick dies in her arms. Meanwhile, Joplin jumps into the car and drives toward the gate. Patrick scrambles after him, dropping the bait along the way. Kelly, enraged by Rick's death, picks up a gun and fires at Patrick, but she's shaking too much to aim. Her shots miss, and she runs out of bullets. At that exact moment, Joplin opens the main gate. The sound draws the entire horde, and within seconds, they pour through. Joplin is the first to go, torn apart instantly. The rest of the survivors bolt back to the house and slam the doors shut, leaving Patrick behind. He tries tossing chunks of meat at the zombies to distract them, but it's useless. The creatures swarm him and rip him apart. Now, the horde turns its attention to the house, slamming into the doors and walls. It's only a matter of time before they break through. In the chaos, Space realizes someone's missing. Pippa. He runs to find her and ends up in the control room. Grabbing the mic, he talks to the others through the speaker. Kelly yells back, telling him to drop the shutters. He hits the right button, and the metal doors slam down, Terslav cutting off the zombies just in time. But as the group catches their breath, a new problem appears. The undead are now crowding around the studio windows, pressing their bloody faces against the mirrors of the Big Brother house. Space radios and one more warning. Kelly, keeping calm despite the terror, tells him to open the diary room, their last hope for shelter. As Space tries to figure out which button opens the diary room, the situation spirals out of control. The undead start flooding the hallways, closing in on him from every direction. He fights them off the best he can, pushing, kicking, and slamming doors shut, but they just keep coming. Meanwhile, on the other side of the studio, the second wave of zombies smashes through the windows and storms into the Big Brother house. Marky and Veronica are the first to fall, torn apart before they can even scream. Kelly grabs the nearest axe and swings with everything she's got, trying to fight her way out. Back in the control room, Space looks down and realizes the horrifying truth. He's been bitten. Knowing he's out of time, he makes one last move. He runs to the panel, hits the final switch, and opens the diary room door just in time for Kelly to dive inside and lock herself in. Moments later, Space is completely surrounded. Among the swarm, he spots Pippa, now one of them, staring at him with those same lifeless eyes. Through the intercom, Kelly's voice breaks through. Half crying, half joking, she tells him that since everyone else is gone, he's officially the last contestant standing, the winner of this twisted season of Big Brother. But she knows she can't stay trapped forever. She begs him to open the next door so she can try to escape. Space hesitates. He knows what's waiting out there, but in the end, he does it. Kelly grips the axe, takes one final deep breath, and charges out into the chaos, screaming as the horde rushes toward her. The next morning, the camera feed is still rolling. The show's broadcast continues across the country, but now there are no contestants left, just the undead. On the screen, we see Kelly again, but she's not human anymore. Her lifeless, blood-smeared face stares blankly into the lens, still being broadcast live to millions of TVs. The Big Brother show never ends. It just becomes something else entirely. And that's how Dead Set ends. A brutal reminder that even reality TV can't escape the apocalypse. A world obsessed with watching ends up becoming the show itself. If you enjoyed this breakdown and want more chilling, fast-paced movie recaps like this one, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss when Starz Recap drops another banger. Got a movie you'd love to see next? Drop it in the comments below. Your pick might be featured in the next episode. Until then, this is Starz Recapped, signing off, where every story gets told one twist at a time.